Say it again.
So we're Masechta Shabbos Yud Aleph Amud Aleph. We're continuing Amar Rava Bar Machsei, Amar Rav Chama Bar Guya, Amar Rav. Kol Ir Shegagoyseh Gvod Beis HaKnesses. If any city where people's homes were built taller than the shul, L'sof Chareva is destined to be destroyed. Shenemar L'romem es Beis Elokeinu Lahamid es Charvosav. That there's a concept that the Beis Elokeinu, the house of God, should be at the highest place. Otherwise, it will lead to destruction. That's houses. But if the city built like monuments or television towers or pillars, separate from the house, and it's taller than the shul, that's not a problem. I made sure to make sure that the homes were built not taller than the shul, in order for Masa Machsei not to be destroyed. Says the Gemara, but Masa Machsei was destroyed. So may also overlook Hareva. It wasn't destroyed for that sin. It was destroyed for other sins. Better to be under the subjugation of an Arab and not under a subjugation of a Roman. Tachas Nochri, Tachas Chabar. Better to be under subjugation of a Roman than under a Persian priest. They're even worse. Tachas Chabar v'lo Tachas Talmid Chacham. Better to be under the subjugation of a priest than a Talmid Chacham, because a Talmid Chacham, we've had many Gemaras where if they got upset with you, they would look at you and they would turn you into a pile of rock. Tachas Talmid Chacham v'lo Tachas Yosem v'Almona. Person shouldn't shepherd with a Yosem v'Almona, because Hashem is a Dayan Almonos. And if you upset an Almona or a Yosem, they easily get upset, and Hashem will listen to their cries and will punish people who disturbed a Yosem or an Almona. Let me have any illness except intestinal illness. Let me have any pain except for heart pain. Let me have any kind of mild ache except for a headache. Let me have any kind of evil thing except for an evil woman. So the song Evil Woman, it comes from this Gemara. In Yukol Yomim Dio, if all the oceans were ink, the Agomim Kumusim, and all the lakes were reeds, the Shemayim Yerios, and the heavens were parchment, the Chol Bnei Adam Lavlorim, and all humankind were scribes. Ein speaking Lichtov Chalolo Shel Rishus. They will still not be able to write down all the various things that the government is responsible for. Look at what's going on with coronavirus. Just that one little deal, the government is, so everything that the government has to look into, it's an amazing amount. What's the pasuk that tells us this? Micro Amr of Mesharshe, Shemaim larum v'aretz la'omek v'lev melachim en cheker. It means heaven is in the high, and the ground is deep. But the heart of kings, you can't investigate because they're so busy. Having a bad dream can be mollified by a fast, the way that straw can be burnt by fire. But you have to fast the same day. The night after at night you have the dream. If you have a bad dream, you want to get rid of it with a tinus.
Can one also do a fast? I mean, give money. I heard that one can also give money, like tzedakah, for the amount that you would eat that day. Is that true?
You're allowed to do a tinus chalom even on Shabbos. If you had a bad dream Friday night. It says, "Uvadorosenu oisim zosrak b'chalom espuat b'shachayshlim." The Mazrav in Godel Tsar Agos Anev Mecholim Yoyis Mitzar Atayit. It means if the anxiety of the bad dream would be worse then the pain you go through the tinus, then you should do then that's the reason for the tinus. But otherwise, no. I don't see an halacha that they say about kesef.
Okay.
Yeshon she'ein b'kachiyu elam yirtze yitzom. Says the Magen Avram, the name of the Rashba, it's not a chiyuv. If you're choishish because of it, you want to feel better, but it's not a chiyuv to do it. But if you're going to do it, you got to do it that day. If you don't do it that day, there's no ashlam on another day. Now, Amrav Yosef afilu b'Shabbos. Like I said, the din is that you can do a tanis chalom even on Shabbos if it's bo bayom. Rav Yeshua Rav Yidi Ikla be Rav Ashi. Rav Yeshua visited Rav Ashi. Avile Igla Tilsa. Igla Tilsa is like a fatted calf. They made him a fantastic dish of meat. Amrule litomar midi. Would you like to taste some? Amr lehu b'tainis yisivna. I'm in a tainis. Amrule v'losavale marlahad Rav Yudah loiva adam tanisu flareya. You can pay it back another day. Eat today and you'll pay it back. Amr lu tainis chalomu. Yeah, but I'm doing it at tainis chalom. I have to do it today because of the din that you got to do it immediately after the chalom. Like it was said, that a tainis is good for a dream, like fire burns straw. That's why you cannot be loive upoireya regarding a tainis chalom. Then we said in the Mishnah V'mischil and mafsikin. If you started eating a meal or starting the din in Bezdin, and you don't have to be mafsik. But Mishnah said mafsikin li kriyashma. For mincha, for tefillah, you could. You don't have to be a mafsik. But if it was man kriyashma, you had started din, you'd have to be mafsik. So hatan le'reisha and mafsik. We started already to say mafsik. So Esau son l'divrei Torah, that if a Talmid Chacham who is learning in Kollel, that means Torasa umnaso, his Torah is his living. He's mafsik learning only for Kriya Shema. So therefore, we're going to see most people were not, and you weren't mafsik for anything else. So the Tanya, Chaverim Shayoskim b'Torah, mafsikin Kriya Shema. They would be mafsik, they're learning for mafsikin l'tefillah, but not for tefillah. And that's Rav Shimon ben Yochai, that they made their living learning Torah. Look at Rav Yochanan, he says like us, mafsikin likros Kriya Shema b'tefillah. Then even though you're learning Torah, you should be mafsik for Kriya Shema and for tefillah. So kitane bi bershana, special kind of learning. Let's say you're intercalating the year, you're adding a leap year. So there you can't be mafsik. But regular Torah you could be mafsik. Mishnah. This Mishnah is going to give us some warnings of things that you shouldn't do right before Shabbos. A tailor should not leave his store on the way home with his sewing needle near the nightfall, because maybe he'll forget that he's got the needle with him and he'll be carrying it. Not the scribe with his pen. A person should not go to a louse checker. They have people who would check your garments for lice, because you may get involved in cleaning the garment. You continue. You should not read to candlelight, because you might fix the wick and it's too close to Shabbos. But the shamis, the head of the cheder, could use a candle to see where the tinoikas were. But he himself should not read. a man who is Betuma Zav should not eat a meal with his wife who's a Zava. They hear the Laver, because by eating together, they'll come to an Avera, sexual Avera. Says the word Tanasam, Lo Yamad Adam B'Shus HaYachid, V'yishte B'Shus HaRabim. A person shouldn't stand in the Rishus HaYachid and drink water that's Rishus HaRabim, because we're concerned that you'll use a Kli and you'll transfer from one Rishus to another. If he puts his head and his body from one Rishus to the other and he stays there, then you could drink.
This is very similar to sukkah in a way. The idea of like when you sit under sukkah.
Yeah, Rosh Hashanah.
Yeah, Rosh Hashanah.
So if you put your Rosh Hashanah into the other Rishus, this is v'chein bagas. Gas is like an olive press.
Wine press.
We don't know what that means, v'chein bagas yet. V'chein, but the Carmelis might. What about you're in a Carmelis? Can you drink water from one Rishus to another? Because really, the whole issue about carrying from Rishus HaYachid to a Carmelis or a Carmelis Rishus HaRabim or vice versa is midrabona. Amar Baya he. Baya says the same din. You can't do it. So if you're standing in a Carmelis, you can't stick your head to Rishus, you can't drink from Rishus HaYachid or vice versa. Rava Amar no. He gufa gzeira. The whole problem of drinking from one Rishus to Rishus is a gzeira. Maybe you'll come to transfer a coast. The whole din of Carmelis is a gzeira. And not nekom v'nigzer gzeira. We don't do double gzeiras. And we paskin like Rava, that if you're in a Carmelis, you could drink from Rishus HaYachid or vice versa. Amar Baya, v'chein bagas. Baya says we know this because it says bagas. My gas, Rishus HaYachid tanina, Rishus HaRabim tanina. We learned both. Ela Carmelis. But Rava says no. V'chein bagas is le'inyan meiser, a completely different din. It has to do with meiser. What's this? It's not. For example, you have to give trumas and meisers from produce before you eat them. But that's when you have a koiveya suda. If you're just wandering through a field and you're nashing, it's a achilas aroy, you don't have to give meisers. And therefore, if you're in the wine press, shoysin alagas, ben alacham and ben alatsoinin upotu. Whether or not it's hot or cold, according to Rav Meir, you can drink. Whether it's been diluted with warm water or cold water. Now, it says you still have to give meiser no matter what. And the Chachamim make a distinction. Alachamin chayiv. If you use hot water, because then clearly you're not going to pour it back into the barrel, because it might turn into vinegar. And therefore we treat it like a shesias keva, like a real drinking, like a koivea suda. So then that would chayiv meiser. Now, but if you diluted it with cold water, potter, because that you could throw back in the barrel. And therefore that's like you just walking by a barrel and sampling it. So based on that, we compare it to our Mishnah. It says, a tailor should not go out with his needle near sundown. We're concerned that he's going to carry. My love, aren't we talking about where the needle is tchuva lo bevigdo? It's not holding it in his hand. The needle is in his collar. Even so, and carrying that way in Rosh Hashanah would not be chayiv in that Torah, because that's not the normal way of carrying. It's only Chachamim make a gzeira that you shouldn't go out that way because you might drop it and pick it up. And yet they said you're not allowed to do it because it's a gzeira. Well, the whole thing is a gzeira. If the needle is in your garment, that whole thing is a gzeira on Shabbos. So why are they goyzer you an hour before Shabbos not to do it? like just like we said before, Gzeira, on top of Gzeira, we don't do, how come we're doing it here? Similarly, why don't we make the Gzeira by the Carmelists? One says, look, there's no proof from the tailor, because the Naked Levi is carrying the needle. It's not, and that would be a real Isser Midoraisa if he actually carried that on Shabbos, not a Gzeira. And in fact, there's a brisa like that. Lo yetze achad b'machto atchuva b'vikto. It says, and tailor shouldn't go out with a needle stuck in his garment. My love, the Erev Shabbos. Lo, that's b'Shabbos. And because you're not carrying in a normal way, but even so, you're not allowed to do it as a gzeira. And there's another brisa to prove our case. Lo yetze achad b'machto atchuva b'vikto b'Erev Shabbos m'chashecha. You cannot go out with a needle stuck in your garment, Erev Shabbos. So you see, they made a gzeira on a gzeira. So again, it's not a kasha. Amani Rav Yehuda Shlodat Uman, he's a professional. That's the way professionals carry. So that's his normal way of carrying. You and I, the normal way of carrying it is in our hand. But his normal way of carrying, so it's no gzeira. That's Meker Adini would be chayiv midoraisa. Then the brisa says, "Lo yetze echad b'machto atchuva lo b'vigdo." A tailor should not go out with a needle in his garment. V'lo nagar b'kisim shabazno, and the carpenter should not go out with a nail behind his ear. V'lo sorek b'mashicha shabazno, and the comber of wool should not go out with the comb in his ear. Or it's like a string that they would tie the wool together. The weaver should not go out with the, that thing that they use for the warp and the woof that he keeps in his ear. Because these are all that the uman, if you're a professional, even though you carry it in an unusual way, that's your normal way of carrying it, so that's why you can't go out. Erev Shabbos, because it might come to Shabbos. The Lot Sabbath, not the dyer, with whatever kli he used, or shulchan b'dinish rosa, or the money changer with a dollar bill behind his ear. But if he went out, potter and not Torah. Rav Yehuda Omer she'umin derecham nasu chayiv na Torah. Shakal adam potter. So this is the machlokas Rav Yehuda. Rav Meir says even a numan goes out with these things, you would not be chayiv. Rav Yehuda says derechum nasu you be chayiv. Period. Now, a man who sees 3 seminal emissions, even on one day, he becomes a zav. He has to count 7 clean days, he has to bring a korban. If he sees for 2 days, he's tameh, but he doesn't have to bring a korban. I think, we'll see. Because they had to detect whether they had a seminal emission, they would wear
Pouch.
What do they call? They wore a garment over their organ.
A pouch. He called it a pouch.
Yeah, but there was a name, Harold. There was some kind of name, like Shakespeare would write about it.
A jockstrap?
No. This was a special thing that they wore over their penis, and you find it in
a chastity belt.
No, that was for the women.
Well, a male
Okay.
chastity belt.
Huh?
A male chastity belt.
Yeah. No, this was actually just, think about maybe like a condom that they would wear, some kind of thing to collect, to make sure that they don't have an emission. He shouldn't go out lechatchila on Shabbos with that. Bim yatsa potter of alosser. If he goes out with it, he's potter. But v'tanya yidich lo yetze, bim yetze chayiv chatas. So what is it? Rav Yosef like kasher. Harav Meir Rav Yehuda. Perhaps this is the machlokas between Rav Meir and Rav Yehuda, like we said before. Amar Rav Yosef. So Amar le Abaya Emer Sham said Rav Meir bin midi de lav hainu orche. Rav Meir only pottered in somebody going out with something that's not a normal way of going out. Like we would carry a needle in our hand. we wouldn't put it in our clothing. A tailor puts it in his clothing, but we don't. But Rav Meir says everyone would wear this the same way. So I understand. Let's say a person needs to wear like a prosthetic for his foot. So, and he took a piece of wood and he made a cleave like that. Just because he's not an expert, would Rav Meir say you're not chayv from that malacha because he's not an expert? He certainly would say you're chayv. So again, here we would say the same thing.
It's
How
called
can we have one
piece. A cod
Huh?
piece.
a cod piece? Exactly.
I couldn't
Exactly.
somehow it was blocked.
A cod piece. Exactly.
Can it be?
A cod piece. COD piece. PIECE.
It's the shape of the genital area, but it sort of covers it. It's like looks like a holster.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how do we? So we've.
I thought it had something to
rejected-
do with a codfish.
You got the wrong thing going.
But the baseball player, the catchers use that also, no?
Yeah, they protect themselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Elazar? Mario? Did Elazar sign on?
Yes. He's on. He's on.
Hello, I'm here.
Okay, Elazar is with us.
We cannot
Huh?
see. That's why we're worried, Alan.
Oh,
Good.
okay, yeah.
We
No,
want to make sure.
I'm here
wanna
the
make
whole
sure-
time.
Are you
So we
awake?
have two.
Are you
So we
awake?
have two barisas.
The whole
One
time.
barisa
I
said.
can repeat over. It's
No.
a good thing I didn't make some comments because you would have liked the comments I made on some of the
Right.
stuff. Okay.
So one opinion is that the zav, if he goes out with the cod piece, he's potter, and the other says he's chayiv. So but it's not the machlekes Rav Meir and Rav Yehuda. Lo kasha kan bezav bal shtei reiyos. So I told you, if a zav sees two seminal emissions, so you are already tamei, but there's no chi of carbon. You only chayiv a korban if you see after 3 times. So therefore, if you need to wear this piece when you're a zav of 2 re'iyos, makes a big difference. But if you wear the piece, if that you've already seen, you're a zav, you've already seen 3 re'iyos, well, you don't have to wear it. So, no, just the opposite. The guy who's seen 2 re'iyos needs it. The Baraisa who says, because there, Zav who saw 3 re'iyos, there's no nafkamina if he sees a 3rd time. And therefore he doesn't really care about it. And he doesn't really care that he's taking it outside. According to the one who says it's only a bal shtei re'iyos, there he's machshav this, because he needs it, because it makes a difference. He's got to keep track of it. Once you have 3 re'iyos, it's over with. So it's like extra, and therefore it's not choshev for him. It says the Gemara, Maishna Zabal Shteir is the Chayi to be boiled in the because he needs it for checking. So Zabal Shlishi Namim boil is Sfira. Says the Gemara, you're wrong. The Zav of Bal 3 reals needs to wear it. Why? Because you have to count 7 clean days. If you don't wear it, you're not going to be able to keep the next day. Let's say you're counting day 1, day 2, day 3. Let's say Shabbos is day 4. If you don't wear it, you're not going to be able to count. So it has significance to make him tohor. So he needs it, and therefore should be machshav. So lo nitzrach ela bo bayom, and that means we're talking about that day. Shabbos is that day, and he already saw 3 emissions. So at that point, it doesn't change anything, and therefore, if he wears it, he would be potter. Why don't we say that he needs it so that his garments remain clean of the seminal emission? So even though he doesn't need it to be kover halacha, he needs it lemaisa to protect his clothing. So Wearing something to prevent things from getting dirty, that's not machshiv. And that wouldn't be machshiv as a dover chashuva to say that he would be chai for carrying it. None. Let's say it's raining and you want to protect the wall and you put a dish there to collect the water. Now we have a din like this. Water, certain things, seeds and food, in order to be makabel tumma, it has to become wet first. Then if the sheretz falls on it, it becomes tummy. But if the food is dry, so you don't become tummy. Now, the water that falls on this has to be water that you're happy that it fell on it. We learn that from, it says the chiyutan mayim al zera, but we learn it yitain, we read it yutan. You have to retrospectively put a kli on a wall when rain is falling. We have to know what your kavana, why you put the dish there in the first place. If you wanted to wash the dish, so you wanted the water. And therefore, if this water fell on peiros, it would be machshir l'kabel tumah. Because it says, Areb zebchiyutan. But in bishvil shelo yilka koisa, let's say you put the dish there because you want to protect the wall. So really you didn't want the water. So then if that water fell on seeds, eino b'chiyutan. So then that water would not be machshir the food to be makabel tumah. And therefore the Gemara wants to say from this, so you see, to protect from dirt is not machshav. So therefore that's why here also, the fact that you turn the kli wasn't machshav it as a malacha. And we want to say over there also, by using the cod piece to protect your clothing, we're not machshav. So the Gemara is going to say, midon, it's not comparable. We'll save this for tomorrow.
Ernie, what is the story with the wearing a plastic covering over a hat on Shabbos? Do we say that's to save the hat?
Well, there I believe that comes into the din of oil, like wearing an umbrella. You're not allowed to do that because of ohel. Now you want to talk about wearing a plastic covering over your hat. Is it considered that you carried something? It's a mosui, or whether it's a takshit. It's not the same thing here. We'll see. There, if it's to protect you, if it's protective garment, I would say it's considered like a garment. Well, what do you want to say?
Okay.
Elazar, what do you mean by the protective thing over a hat?
It's one of those plastic elastic pieces that only goes over the hat. So the question is it protecting the hat? It's not protecting your head because the hat's already protecting your head.
I would recommend that we leave that question when we learn the concept of takshit, because that's going to come in, whether it's a takshit or not, whether it's useful or not.
Yeah.
But here we're dealing with another issue. Certain malachos, it's not. He doesn't. If it's not relevant, it's not machshav, and you'd not be chayav for yitziyah. So, for example, since the cod piece after the third riyah on the same day makes no difference, it's not machshav. So and we brought this case of the dish covering the water to have that discussion.
Well, it's like these raincoats. They have this shane coat. So if you're wearing a hat, the shane coat has a hood. So you're putting the hood over your hat. You already have the hat. So the hood is protecting what? The hat or you? No,
but Harold, you're allowed to wear a raincoat because that's a garment protecting you. The issue is, can you go outside? First of all, we have an A-roof. So we don't have these, but let's say we didn't have an A-roof. So then certain things that you wear, is it considered a takshit or not?
Yes, right.
Is it usable or is it extraneous and you might be chayav for carrying?
Yeah, but there's an Erev anyway.
There's an area of any, but so for example, an umbrella you're not allowed to carry because that
course.
creates
It's
an
bone.
OL. An OL, bonus creates
Yeah.
an OL. It's a different thing. I've never heard that the covering on the hat is an OL.
Okay.
But but maybe the concept that you're not really using it as a garment, you're using it to protect your hat. That might be an issue. But on the other hand, if your hat gets wet, then you're going to get wet. So
Right.
covering the hat protects you as well.
Okay, I see that.